Meta just officially ended the metaverse. They shut it down. They laid off, I think, 10% of their workforce that was working on it. And there's just so much we can learn about this. So the numbers are staggering, first and foremost. 73 or 77 billion with a B dollars put towards the metaverse and developing it and creating it, only for it to be shut down a couple years later, is crazy. That is, I can't even picture how much money that is. Like, is that a mountain worth of money? Is that an island worth of money? I don't know. Before we get started, today's video is brought to you by VCM Apps. If you are making content, you should be getting paid, period. And VCM Apps has all the different tools available for you to do exactly that, to help you get paid whenever you're posting. Things that help you find demand and what to post, things that help you sell things. So it's how I run my business. And so everything I use for myself is made available for you. So check it out. But that's how much they spent to build out the metaverse, only for it to be essentially a failure. And so what happened? I think the biggest one is like responding to demand. VR and AR was such a huge thing just a couple years ago, until AI came into the picture and just like the immediate effect, and everyone could immediately see how much better their lives were because of it, what it could do instantly. You got the immediate payoff. VR was, in the future you'll be able to do this, and in the future you'll be able to do that. And it was never coming to fruition. So you're like holding on for this belief, and it just never happened yet. You have to go with like what gives you immediate results now, so that you're not just waiting for some far off thing. Because did the metaverse have promise? Yes, it did. VR has promise, AR still has promise, and I could see it in the future working. But while you're getting there, like, things have to start working along the way. You can't just hope for a pipe dream. And I'm someone who's actually really likes VR. Having a full headset where you're immersed in an entirely new world and environment is dope, but the content wasn't there. The experiences wasn't there. Like, it wasn't, video games should have been a lot bigger and better than it was. A lot of it was because of the mechanics of how we were trapped into one spot. You can't like run. And some of the experience could have been a lot better. I watched like an anime thing in it and like a fight scene, incredible. But there was no content creators who were doing that. And then in order to make that content, it was also very difficult. It wasn't easy. It wasn't just like a flip of a button like to turn it into VR or whatever. It was a long stitching different things process. And so it's like a chicken and the egg situation. So that's number one. You have to watch out for hype cycles, and you have to really look at like what is the usage, because the biggest problem is that only a very small percentage of users of, you know, Meta's whole user base was in VR. I think it was 0.4% of users. And it's just showing you that like it's just not taken off. And you can't try to force things. I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned from this experience, from watching this happen. And I see it happen with my own businesses too. You can't force things. You have to serve what is showing up for you. You have to serve the people who are showing up for you. And no one was showing up for VR. Even AR is doing better with their Meta glasses and have to meet demand, so they're upping their production. That's doing better. That's people showing interest in this, and so that's what you have to serve. I think Meta as a business just like really went against that and finally decided to follow that rule. Maybe they can come back to that at a later date, but for right now, you have to go where the world is at and meet people where they're at, and where they're at is AI. And so that's where they're focusing their time on. Some other issues that they said was like they had huge taxes on the content for the ecosystem. So like I was saying, the content like wasn't there, the experiences, the things you do, because you could have done incredible things, and I've seen some incredible things you can do, but people weren't invited there to work on the ecosystem, put their time there and put their effort there. And so I did another video where I was talking about how like Chinese companies often give away for free because they want to establish dominance, and then they turn on the monetization. He didn't do that. Zuckerberg and Meta didn't do that. What they need to do was let the developers have like full commission from whatever they sold on that on their ecosystem. They took a 47.5% cut. Almost half the profits that developers would have been making using that platform was taken away from them off the bat. Like, of course they didn't put their time there. There's not enough like users there. There's not enough adoption yet. There's not enough people using it. And there's no money to be made. So that's their hugest mistake. You have to let people get things for free and value up front and get addicted and show that this is working. And then you could start turning on monetization. Then you can start making money. Otherwise, when you have friction, there's no adoption to begin with. You're failed before launch. And so that's another huge mistake that they made. And so that's another lesson that I'm applying to my own businesses. Like, give things away for free at first, then turn it on the monetization or turn on the friction, and those who find the actual value in it will stay. So build out loud, right? So building online, building in the open, showing all your mistakes, showing all your issues, showing your growth. Usually that's a good idea. And I think in a world where content is so important, it is important to build out and openly. But what the problem with that, you're building all this pent up demand for something that when it finally launches, it fails everyone's expectations. And that's what can't happen. That's what Apple does not do. Apple sits in the sidelines for years until they get that thing perfect down packed, and then they release. And so whenever they release something, everyone knows this is a great product, this is a great thing. You lose trust when you're launching and it's not perfect yet. Or you lose trust when you're building out in the open, you launch the product and then it fails everyone's expectations. You can't overpromise and then underdeliver. And the same thing happened with, oh, I forgot the name of the game. It's like a cyberpunk game, Cyberpunk 2077 or something like that. Same thing, hype. I was so excited for this game, and they get out and like there's so many glitches and so many issues, and just it wasn't ready. I think that is an issue. If you're gonna build up demand and you're gonna build up all this time, it needs to be a well-oiled machine beforehand. So yes, build out loud, yes, build it up and whatever else, but then like you gotta launch, it's gotta meet the demand. I think you should do the Apple way. I think you should do the Apple Play. Make sure it's perfected, make sure it's really, really solid first, and then release it. So that way, when you do release to a fan base of people fiending for this product, their demand is met, their expectations are met, and they're happy with it, and they will tell their other friends about it and why it's so great and why they have to use it. So that's just my thoughts. So those are the three things that I think Meta really did wrong that caused them to fail. They tried to build something and they weren't responding to demand. They overpromised and underdelivered, and they built out loud and launched before it was ready. And so those are three lessons I'm taking into my business of, I guess, what not to do. So yeah, like I'm not launching anything until it's perfect. I'll have a beta period with some beta testers to make sure we get all the kinks out. But like I believe in excellence. And so if I launch something, it has got to be perfect and excellent so that when I launch it, everyone knows that this man makes apps that are great and that change people's lives and that affect people's and makes them more money. So yeah, if you're making content, check out my apps. They're all on vcmapps.com, and they are there to help creators like myself and everyone else make more money online. If you're posting, you should be making money, period. So definitely check those out. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Like, what else did Meta do wrong? Anyway, I will catch you guys on the next upload.